Alright. Sorry that I'm releasing this so late, but frankly, truth be told, I've mainly just been doing a lot more thinking than actual work. I wouldn't say I've been distracted these past 2 days. I've more or less just been having sudden realizations, mostly, just because, I don't know, well, not realizations, just overthinking that. In other words, I've been thinking a lot about the New York trip coming up. I'll be doing some kind of work. I've been looking up places that do prosthetics in America, but because I only just know where we're going, things like that, I don't exactly know which ways we're going, anything like, or whatever. More or less, even if I do note down addresses, I've got to understand where I'm going, and from what I've heard, there are places that even taxi drivers specifically tell you you should not go in New York. Just heard about it. Couldn't really find anything that said specifically don't go to these places or go down these roads. But I won't have a hard time believing them because not only is it a capital city, it's going to have something like that, but it's America, and if I've learnt anything from movie representations, online media, or just documentaries, just anything like that, is that America has a lot of different kinds of people, and it's like a bomb has gone off at a paint factory. There's all kinds of people from all kinds of walks of life with different personalities, although from what I've learned, some of those colours are quite harsh, as in, no wonder they have such loose gun laws. It's probably going to be a bit of a controversial quote, but I don't know. Again, I'm probably just overthinking it, but it's just something that's weighing on my mind. As for places in New York, I did have a list of just addresses, but I just deleted them because I'll look them up later and I'll find exactly the same kind of results. I can note them down in a much better way. I'll print out a map and draw out just where we're going, where subways are, because from what I've heard, I did look up one website that said 15 things to do in America, things to do and not do. One of the things it said was, don't take a taxi. It will either get stuck in traffic, but most assuredly it will charge you a bomb. And taking the underground or subway is just a lot better idea. It's cheaper, it'll get you there, even though it won't take you to somewhere specific, unless that place that is specific is where the station is, but it's just cheaper overall. Something a little bit unrelated, which I've been looking up anyway, is great places that sell proper New York bagels. I should probably just end the video here because there's not really anything I can add. It's just, I said I'm going to New York, my brother went, awesome, and asked me to bring him back some New York bagels. So there's the end of that discussion. So, I did mention I've not been distracted, I've just been overthinking things. And what I mean by not being distracted is I'm not constantly playing Civilization 5 anymore, or any Civilization games. So currently I'm not indulging myself in the game constantly, so it's mostly just thoughts buzzing around my head and every so often getting up and doing chores because I work from home. or just live at home, whatever. Um, so, something else I've been overthinking, which I've already talked about a lot, is how I'm going to do the holographic projector, especially considering um, the monitor. So, as I mentioned before, if I was very ignorant to how I designed the whole projector, then it'll only fit one kind of Mac screen. So if I brought it back, it's going to be useless because we don't have the same Macs as they do. So, because they won't fit the very specific dimensions. But I have been thinking about this, and something I was thinking about is having the base plate and the frame, which isn't the structure that houses the pyramid, but instead the square that the structure sits on, and the frame is what sits on top of the actual screen. Having just those two parts completely separate. But what I'm going to do is imagine a tray, except one of the walls is taken out, and this tray is lined around the edges with just any kind of cushioning. Same thing will happen with the frame itself that will be on top of the screen, because it's going to be sandwiching together the screen. Now, what I've been thinking is have the dimensions from have the measurement from the front to the back, so from the side that has a hole in it, or a wall taken out of it, to the opposite side of the tray, which is the base plate, have that be specifically designed to fit the height, the tallest height you can get of a screen, a monitor, because as we all must know, a screen is always rectangular, so I might as well try and fit the biggest width, and then anything else hang out the sides. And ultimately, no matter what kind of screen you have, I might find that the height is always going to be the same. I've just realised the battery might die at any moment, so sorry if this is suddenly cut short, but I'll probably continue this on my laptop. It's probably going to immediately cut, isn't it? So just imagine that the reason there's going to be a hole in the reason that there'll be a wall taken out of the tray is I mentioned before that usually it's like varying different kinds of stands for the monitor, which is what I mentioned 2 days ago. So if I took out this particular wall, then it should fit anything else, and the whole screen will always fit in between the base plate and the frame. Now, the way it would be held together is, I was thinking of some kind of screw. Yes, 4 kinds of corner pins that can... I was thinking a screw. I don't know if I can get my hands on any kinds of screws, but that's what I was thinking. Not sure how you would be able to exactly tell when you centered the screen to the pyramid, but that alone is how you're going to keep the base plate and the whole upper section of it in line with each other, and that's with these 4 corner pins. That's as much as I can really say my thought process has gone, but there's somewhere to start with. I think I'll just have corner pins and not have any screws, because even though it'd be super easy just to pick it up and remove it, it also means that it'll at least stay exactly where it needs to be, which is the most I really want it to do. Then again, if I added some kind of screw system, it would keep it more in place, but I've had situations with crafting stuff where if you screw too hard, with regular screws and a screwdriver or a drill, you'll probably end up breaking something. Even with wood, you'll probably look closely, if you're using a soft wood, there'll be some kind of imprint where the screw's gone in, because the head is pushing against it because of how much you screwed it in. So those are just thoughts. I think I should stop talking more about the projector itself. Apart from, I'll do rough sketches in my big old sketchbook, and I'll move on to the next thing, which is what am I going to actually project, as well as the format and the not the format, the presentation, as well as I need to start doing more research, because I haven't been doing as much research recently as I should have. I'm still stuck with only the plasma research done, so I'm definitely going to get onto that as soon as possible. Tomorrow I'm back in college, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pictures I need of the mind map, show it off, and then just move on to doing, to planning the actual building of the holograph projector, and going immediately into designs and three-dimensional stuff for what's going to be shown. As well as, I've briefly touched this before, I can't remember how much I've talked about it, but I want to get my dad, because he's the most accessible, obviously, to do voice acting over it as like a sort of scientist. These are notes, these are projects, stage by stage, scientific lab jargon kind of dialogue. It'd be helpful to have him voice act for it. Obviously I'm not going to film it. But something which I've thought of is, other than just have pictures of the model being on screen or on acetate, I was also, well, not even considering, what else I want to do is have a three-dimensional logo floating with maybe loading, and maybe I'll play around with the model like it's glitching out, as in, alright, that's been closed, we're loading up a new model in between different stages. I think a kind of good example of this logo is, if you played Pokemon X and Y, they have a device called a Holocaster, which has no real use other than talking to friends online, I think. I think, I don't have friends I talk to online, or possibly friends, but it has some uses story-wise. If you're stuck, you can bring up the last holo message, usually it's helpful, but if not, it still comes up with a little, this is the logo for the Holocaster. So maybe something like that. What mostly drew me to making the idea for a logo, a loading screen in 3D is, other than the obvious, it would look good, there was also, all the way on my last FMP, which I didn't really like, it was also 3D, it had the giant cyborg animals, and I thought it was terrible. There was the whole computer segment, and my tutors really liked that, even though they were I don't know how impressed they were by the 3D animation, because I hated it. I thought it was terrible. Either way, they still really liked the computer part of it, where there was whole loading up and the turning on stuff. They just really enjoyed it. So from there, I thought, why don't I have some kind of nod to it? I'll have something similar. Here's a logo to something loading, and maybe something glitching as it loads in or gets loaded out. I thought that'd just be a nice little nod to that. The whole, this is being played on a computer aspect of it. I'll have to add that actually, the Holocaster bit, as well as callbacks to my last FMP. Laptop was open. It was starting to annoy me. OCD maybe. So ideas. That's what I've got so far. I know I said I'd show those drawings I made, doodles in a notepad, but because I haven't really done much with those, I'm going to show them some other time, a little bit later on. But for the moment, I want to start just getting maybe some rough sketches done of other stuff, which I should be doing much later, but most of all, getting my research on. Not much else to say, other than during the time in New York, I won't, of course, be uploading vlog after vlog. I don't want to have access to the internet. I won't be bringing my laptop, even though I'll have my phone. I don't want to start uploading things there. I just want to take the camera I have, as well as, well, not my tripod, because that would just be annoying. I want to take my camera and my charger with me, and I will film everything, and you can expect the whole edit together version of this, not the upcoming Sunday, not this Sunday, but next Sunday. You will see that. Everything that I've done, my whole trip to New York. This, by the way, something very... This has nothing to do with anything, but I always worry when I say, I'm going to New York, or I'm going to